Today, we get to begin by drilling down on one of the sectors that has the highest potential, in my view, one of the highest potential to be able to create and generate green jobs. Let's get back to the way in which jobs can be created in the renewable energy sector. So you probably went to school, you're an engineer, or you did math, or you did geography, and you're wondering, okay, so if energy is going to be the largest contributor when it comes to creation of green jobs, how do I, as a current mid-career professional already in the energy space, transition from what I'm doing right now in the oil and gas space, if you're already in that space, from a brown job into a green job? Well, there are many opportunities that are emerging, especially in the training sector, where you can acquire the skills that are required for you to be able to play a role, or for you to be able to get a job in the renewable energy space. Let's say you're already in the brown space, and this is fossil fuels, oil and gas. You could acquire some form of training or certification or whatever skill sets that is required for you to be a geothermal engineer, or a green hydrogen engineer, which is another huge opportunity and sector that is emerging beautifully in this continent. You could acquire the skills by either going to school or even interning or finding a way of positioning yourself for this emerging sector, because it's emerging now, but it will be the sector that will be the largest, one of the largest employers in a couple of years to come. That's one way of doing it, the transition process. The other one is you're probably going to high school right now and you're thinking, this could sound interesting. If by the time I'm going to, finish my high school or finish my college or university education, renewable energy will be one of the highest employers, then choose a career that will align you towards renewable energy. And if you are still a little bit not clear, this is the age of information. So do a bit of research around what are the kind of programs that would enable you to play or to find a job in the renewable energy space. And besides that, like we said, that in the production of energy, there are many kinds of categories of jobs. You could find that there are certain kinds of programs, even when it comes to retrofitting. For example, the UK adopted a program that is called Retrofit. And in this case, they decided to target a certain amount of homes that would be retrofitted with solar panels. That naturally increases the demand for solar panels because they do not even have as much sun as we do in Africa, but they're already doing something about it. And so the increase in the demand for solar panels introduces industry in terms of production or manufacturing of solar panels. Now, for us in Africa, we have the nickel and the cobalt and the raw materials that are required for the production or manufacturing of solar panels. But what are we doing? I don't even think we have an existing solar panel manufacturing industry or factory. We do have assemblies where solar panels are assembled, but I do not know, and I could be wrong. I do not know of any major brand that is set up here to specifically manufacture solar panels. Countries like Germany are world leaders. China are world leaders when it comes to solar, but where do they get the raw materials? Africa. They do not have the sun and they do not have the raw materials, but they're the ones supplying us with the solar panels. If this is going to be an emerging sector, we ought to be the suppliers because we have the raw materials, the critical minerals that are required for that. Same to batteries. When it comes to e-mobility, you'll definitely need batteries, and these batteries are largely produced by sources or minerals that are also found on the continent. And the same applies to so many other sectors. Why can our countries, our leaders, not create platforms to enable the creation or the manufacturing of these solar panels on the continent and then become suppliers? And even use it locally at home. Because unfortunately, out of the 1.2 billion people on the African continent today, 600 million of them do not have access to electricity of any kind. And then 970 million of them do not have access to clean cooking. This is a huge opportunity. And yes, there are many people that are getting into that space, but it is still a huge opportunity for many of the young people out there who could come up with ideas, but also many of the businesses who could diversify into that space. We have a lot going for us, and most of it, honestly, is God-given. An unfair competitive advantage. You cannot create the sun, for example. You cannot create the wind or the naturally flowing water that enabled us to create hydro projects or mini projects. But these are things that we've already been given and are available to us, that if we take advantage of them and maximize on them, we could create a lot of jobs. And in this case, we're talking about millions of jobs for our many unemployed and for the most part helpless.